set.
Okay, great. Well, in that case, we'll call this meeting to order. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Eloise, we'll turn it back to you to do the official roll call, please.
District 1, Supervisor Alejo. District 1, Supervisor Alejo.
Here.
District 2, Supervisor Phillips.
Here.
District 3, Supervisor Lopez.
Here.
District 4, Supervisor Askew.
Here.
District 5, Supervisor Adams.
Here.
City of Carmel by the Sea. City of Delray Oaks.
Here.
City of Gonzales.
Here.
City of Greenfield.
Here.
City of King City.
Present.
City of Marina. City of Monterey.
Present.
Pacific Grove.
Here.
City of Salinas.
So that's the only problem is once we get past, even
And-
past March. Otherwise,
City of Seaside.
Here.
City of Soledad.
Here.
Ambag.
Here.
Caltrans District 5.
Present.
Monterey Bay Air Resource District. Monterey Regional Airport District. Monterey Regional Airport District. Monterey Salinas Transit.
Good morning, I'm here.
City of Watsonville. CSUMB. Chair, we have a quorum.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Next up, if we could do our Pledge of Allegiance, and Jose Rios, could you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Absolutely. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
And to the republic which it stands.
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Jose. Good morning, everybody, and we'll start this off with the next item is the consent agenda. Oh, I'm sorry, before that, let me read the instructions for any members of the public that may have joined us. So any members of the public may address the board on items not on the agenda within the jurisdiction of the board. This item, each member of the public is allowed 3 minutes to address concerns. Comments in items on this agenda may be given when that agenda item is discussed, and persons who wish to address the board for public comment or on an item on the agenda are encouraged to submit comments prior to the meeting to maria@tamcmonterey.org by 5 o'clock on the Monday prior to the meeting. And then those comments can be distributed to the board members. Any members of the public who wish to address, please identify yourselves. And if you are on this meeting, you can raise your hand, speak up when the time comes. But any member of the member now that would wish to address this board on items not on the agenda, now would be the time to do that. Any members of the public present that wish to address the board on items not on the agenda? And Eloise, I'll ask you if we have anybody who's reached out to you that's on the phone or in any other manner. Okay, hearing no members of the public, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Item 3, staff recommendations for items listed on the agenda under consent agenda item 3. Any members of the board wishing to pull an item or make a comment on any of the agenda items on the consent agenda? Okay, hearing none, we'll entertain a motion for approval.
Lopez moves approval.
Thank you, Chris.
Seconds.
And that was second. Is that Wendy?
Very positive about it. That's the first thing I noticed. You know, he just wanted clarity.
I think that might have been Mayor Kerr, but I'm not sure.
Okay, who was the second, please?
It was Allison Kerr.
Thank you, Allison.
Thank you.
Eloise, if you could do the roll call, please, for the consent agenda.
District 1 Supervisor Alejo.
Aye.
District 2 Supervisor Phillips.
Aye.
District 3 Supervisor Lopez.
Aye.
District 4 Supervisor Askew.
Aye.
District 5 Supervisor Adams.
Aye.
City of Carmel by the
Live from the city of Carmel by the Sea in Boston, Massachusetts. Aye.
City of Delray Oaks.
Aye.
City of Gonzales.
Aye.
City of Greenfield.
Aye.
City of King City.
Aye.
City of Marina.
Aye.
City of Monterey.
Aye.
City of Pacific Grove.
Aye.
City of Salinas.
Aye, and present for the record. Thank you.
City of Sand City. City of Seaside.
Aye.
City of Soledad.
Aye.
Chair, the motion passes unanimously.
Thank you very much. Item number 4 is presenting Transportation Agency Employee of the Quarter. Todd, I'll pass it off to you.
Thank you, Chair Smith. It's my pleasure to announce that Aaron Hernandez was selected by his fellow staff at TAMC to be Employee of the Quarter. And he was noted for his professionalism and positive attitude and hard work in developing and working on our geographic information tools for the US 101 and Safe Route to School projects. And they also appreciate his assistance in the office while we've been working mostly remotely. And he's done a great job this past 6 months working on the environmental review documents. He's never hesitated to step in and help. He helped out with the city of Salinas in the striping plan for the East Alisal Safe Route to School pop-up demonstration as an example. And this is all in his first 6 months at work. He's just reaching his 6-month anniversary. So with that, we would like to shows appreciation for Aaron as Employee of the Quarter.
Thank you very much. And I'm looking to see if Aaron is present.
Yes, I'm here.
We can invite you to make any of your comments, Aaron. We'd love to hear from you.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Todd, and thanks to my team here at TAMC. 6 months in, and I already received Employee of the Quarter, so that's a good sign. but no, yeah, I'm very thankful that my team is able to see the kind of value that I bring to TAMC that could have been like pretty difficult to do without. But I think overall it's been really a really fun 6 months. I'd say really, I guess you could say game-changing 6 months for me. I've been enjoying all the work I've been doing and all the things I've been learning. And yeah, I'm really excited for this year. There's a lot of work coming ahead for this year, like Safe Routes to School and possibly grants and all that. So, and many other projects. So it's great to be a part of this. And I thank you all for it. Thanks.
Super. Thanks, Aaron, very much. Well deserved, and keep up the good work. And I don't want to cut out any board members that may have comments. I'm sure many board members have had some contact with Aaron and staff working on projects. So this time I'll invite any board members that wish to follow up with any comments to congratulate Aaron Hernandez. Mary, I saw your hand. Go ahead.
It is. I see that Mike Labar's hand is up, and I think his hand was up first.
Mike Labar, go ahead.
Always gracious, Mary. Thank you. No, I was going to say, well-deserved, Aaron. All my interactions with you, I mean, you were very professional. And what I really like is you're very passionate and you understand the work that you're doing, what it means to the residents that we serve. And I appreciate that. Thank you.
Aaron, I just want to congratulate you, Aaron, and just say that there's nothing quite as important as the appreciation of your peers and the acknowledgement that they have given you. The employee of the quarter is really important. So I just encourage you to continue on, and it's going to be fun to work with you.
Super. Thank you very much. Don't see any other comments, so we'll move ahead now to item number 5, election of officers. So this is a happy time for the transition. Each year we do this. So Todd, I'm going to give this back to you for you to sort of set up, and then I'll have some comments. Todd, item number 5.
Sure, thank you. So for the election of officers for our 2022 year, we had a nominating committee of yourself, Mr. Smith as chair, and Christina Medina Dirksen from the city of Marina as representing the nominating committee. And the slate that they moved forward were Mary Adams moving up to chair, Michael Barr moving up to first vice chair, Supervisor Chris Lopez moving to second vice chair, Ed Smith, of course, moving to past chair, Kimberly Craig staying as the city representative to the executive committee, and Wendy Root Askew, Supervisor Askew, joining as the county representative to the executive committee. And that was the slate that the nominating committee recommended.
Okay, great. So as I read the staff work, it's the election of officers to receive a report of the nominating committee and elect the chair. So at this time, we're going to call for a motion on the floor. And we'll need a second to receive the recommendation from Christina Medina Dirksen and myself for the 2022 incoming TAMC board.
Move approval.
Oglesby second.
Okay, thank you very much. And Eloise, I guess we need to go right into a vote for that first motion.
Okay. District 1, Supervisor-elect.
Aye.
District 2, Supervisor Phillips.
Aye.
District 3, Supervisor Lopez.
Aye.
District 4, Supervisor Askew.
Aye.
District 5, Supervisor Adams.
Aye.
City of Carmel by the Sea.
Aye.
City of Delray Oaks.
Aye.
City of Gonzales.
Aye.
City of Greenfield.
Aye.
City of King City.
Aye.
City of Marina.
Aye.
City of Monterey.
Aye.
City of Pacific Grove.
Aye.
City of Salinas.
Aye.
City of Sand City. City of Seaside.
Aye.
City of Soledad.
Aye.
Chair, the motion passes unanimously.
Thank you very much. And the next item in this staff work is to receive a report from the nominating committee and elect members of the executive committee for the term beginning upon their election through the next election of officers and beginning January 25th. So I am looking down here for executive list. Todd, help me out. Can you?
Yes, so
right
the
here.
nominating would keep Kimberly Craig as a city representative and add Supervisor Wendy Root Askew as our county representative to the executive committee.
Okay, thank you. I see it now and scrolled it up there. So at this time, we'll ask for a motion to approve the second half of this, which is to continue and appoint the executive committee for the year 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Eloise?
Okay. District 1, Supervisor Alejo.
Aye.
District 2, Supervisor Phillips.
Aye.
District 3, Supervisor Lopez.
Aye.
District 4, Supervisor Askew.
Aye.
District 5, Supervisor Adams.
Aye.
City of Carmel by the Sea.
Aye.
City of Del Rio,
Aye.
City of Gonzales,
Aye.
City of Greenfield,
Aye.
City of King City,
Aye.
City of Marina,
Aye.
City of Monterey,
Aye.
City of Pacific Grove,
Aye.
City of Salinas,
Aye.
City of Sand City, City of Seaside,
Aye.
City of Soledad.
Aye.
Chair, the motion passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you, Eloise. So I just, with a passing comment of the action that we've taken, as you all know, as board members, we work with a great staff, and there's a lot of work to be done throughout the year for TAMC and the work of the executive committee, as well as this full board. It's exciting to see us move forward with slight changes on the board, but very confident in knowing with our executive director and staff and a fully engaged board, this is going to be an exciting year in 2022. Next up is item number 6, draft of the 2022 Regional Transportation Plan, and we have a public hearing. We'll turn this over to Mike Zeller.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, Chair and members of the board. Mike Zeller, I'm a Director of Programming and Project Delivery. I have a presentation on our draft 2022 Regional Transportation Plan. This document is our long-range plan. It looks out to the year 2045 for all of our assumptions about our financing, funding for projects, and the projects that we expect to be able to deliver in that time frame. So we do a lot of short-term, like with our integrated funding plan that looks out about 5 years. Similarly with our Regional Transportation Improvement Program, that's a 5-year cycle. The Regional Transportation Plan is, as I mentioned, out to 2045. So it looks at the kind of the big picture of what we expect to be able to accomplish over the long term. As you can see here, it sets out our funding priorities over the 20 plus years, where we identify the fund sources that we reasonably expect to be able to receive over that time frame. And by listing out the projects that we expect to be able to construct through 2045, it kind of sets the basis for our state and federal funding to be able to program those funds to the projects. This is also a very important regional collaboration effort that we work on with our partners at Santa Cruz and San Benito County, as well as the Association of Monterey Bay Area Governments. The 3 county regional transportation planning agencies with Monterey, Santa Cruz, and San Benito. We all prepare our county level regional transportation plans, and then those the projects and the funding in those plans filter up into the metropolitan transportation plan that AMBAC prepares. And that allows us and helps us to meet our regional greenhouse gas emissions targets that are set by the California Air Resources Board. So looking at the different projects that we're proposing to do over that time frame, AMBAC takes all of that information from our 3 county area and runs an analysis to see what type of benefits we can expect to receive over that time frame from constructing these projects. And then, as I mentioned, that helps us to meet our Air Resources Board GHG targets. The plan is primarily comprised of 3 elements. There's the policy element. The financial element, as I mentioned, is all of the revenues, and then the action element identifies the project, so the expenditures from the plan. And I'll go through each of these in a little bit more detail. The policy element, this was reviewed by the board back in February of 2020. Madeline Jacobson at that time presented this to the board to receive approval. The policy element is comprised of goals of what we're trying to achieve, objectives of how we're going to achieve those goals, and then lists out performance metrics for how we measure our success in achieving our goals. The goals for the 2022 plan, these are largely the same as what was in the 2018 Regional Transportation Plan. We have different categories for access and mobility, safety and health, environmental stewardship, equity, and then finally economic vitality. The main updates to the goals from the 2018 plan revolve around including more information about geographic equity as well as public health and health equity, along with our efforts in habitat preservation. Looking at the financial elements, primarily comprised of our local, state, and federal revenues. And as you can see in the blue there, our local funds is a pretty big chunk of what we expect to receive over the lifetime of the plan. The total amount of funding is, including the plan, is $6.7 billion. Almost half of that comes from local sources, not just Measure X, but also local developer fees and other local sources. Another 37% comes from state sources. So this would be Senate Bill 1, as well as gas tax and local streets and roads funds that goes directly to the jurisdictions. Then another 15% of federal sources. And this is primarily federal funding that goes towards MST for transit projects. But just because we're listing out $6.7 billion in funding, this is, as you're well aware, funding sources do come with restrictions on how those funds can be used. So this becomes the balancing act of how we select projects that match the fund sources that we expect to receive. You can see that there's restrictions based on the types of projects that we can use those funds on. And there's really just a small amount, about just under $500 million that's flexible that we can use towards different types of projects. So this is just to highlight the process that the agency goes through in identifying different projects that are included in the program. And now I'd like to just run through some of the changes to the project list. The project list is broken up into two categories. The first is the constrained list, and these are the projects that we reasonably anticipate to be able to receive funding and construct over the lifetime of the regional plan. And then the unconstrained list are projects that we would like to include in the plan, but there's not an expectation that there'll be funding received for those projects, so we'll be able to move forward and be constructed. Further from this, we also do segment the projects based on ones that are regionally significant, and then also we use a group listing where we identify categories of projects like transit, bike and pedestrian, local streets and roads, and highway, and group projects into those different categories. We have over 400 projects in our project list, so that's a way that we can make things a little bit more manageable by highlighting the ones that are regionally significant and then including the rest in group listings. So for this plan, the projects that we have added to the regionally significant constrained list, first up we have the State Route 218 operational improvements. This was previously on the unconstrained. We recently completed a corridor study for this area, and we've moved the project to the constrained list to identify that we expect to be able to receive funding and construct this over the lifetime of the plan. We also made some changes to our scenic State Route 68 as well as US 101 south of Salinas improvements. Both of these projects were included on the regionally significant constrained list in the 2018 plan, but they were broken up into their component different projects. So the State Route 68 had different interchange projects listed. Similarly, the US 101 had interchange projects and frontage roads listed separately. So now we've combined them into their consolidated corridor improvements. Projects also that were added to the regionally significant constrained list, we added new phases for the rail extension to Monterey County project, so with Pop Row Station and Castroville. We've moved the King City Roundabout from the group listings to the regionally significant list, just to highlight it as an important project for the county. And similarly for the Fort Ord Regional Trail and Greenway project, this one was listed previously, but now that agency has been successful in receiving grant funds for different segments of the project, we've identified those segments individually while keeping the overall project listed as well. A couple of projects that were removed from the regionally significant constrained list. One was the Coast Rail project. It was removed due to lack of funding, but we did keep the King City Station project on the list. This was recently recommended for state interregional transportation improvement program funding. And the State Route 68 roundabout at the community hospital was removed as it is a project that's not currently moving forward. This is largely due to the operational efficiencies that we received from the Home and Highway 68 roundabout, that this project is not needed to move forward at this time. Several projects that we added to the regionally significant unconstrained list, the ones that we wanted to identify as key projects for our region, but don't currently have funding identified. There's the State Route 1 improvements through North Monterey County. These are ones that were identified in the AMBAG's Coastal Resiliency Study. Rail Around the Bay, that was identified in the network integration study, looking at the way that rail service in Monterey County can connect with the state service. As well as the State Route 1 Fremont, Monterey Road, California Avenue interchange. So this was a project that was pulled out from the State Route 1 widening project, wanting to make sure that we highlighted this as a key component. And so leading into the State Route 1 widening that's listed on here, these were projects that were removed from the unconstrained list. The State Route 1 widening was removed due to the Monterey Salinas Transit's SURF busway project that is listed on the constrained list. The efficiencies and benefits that we expected to receive from the widening project will be able to be accomplished through that transit project, as well as the Fremont Monterey Road interchange project that I listed on the prior screen. So we're removing the State Route 1 widening from this list. Also removing the State Route 68 bypass and widening. This project has been listed on the unconstrained list for a number of years. And due to just having a lack of funding, we're removing it from the list. But I did mention that we have the scenic State Route 68 project, corridor project is the one that the agency has prioritized moving forward with. And then the Imgem Parkway full widening from 4 to 6 lanes. So the City of Marina recently did a traffic study that identified that the full widening to 6 lanes isn't necessary. The city does have the Engine Road widening project moving forward, hopefully beginning construction this summer. So the full project to 6 lanes is no longer needed and was removed from the list. So as you can see here, we've gone through quite an effort to update the plan over the past couple of years. So today we're asking the board to open a public hearing and take any comments. In December, the board had released the draft plan for public comment, and public comment period runs through January 31st. After that time, we'll take any of the comments that we've received and go back and work with AMBAG and our partners at Santa Cruz and San Benito to update the draft plan, and then bring back a final approval of the final regional transportation plan along with the associated environmental documents at our June board meeting. And with that, I'd be happy to take any questions and ask the board to open the public hearing.
Okay, great. So thank you, Mike. Before we go to the public, I want to pass the gavel to Mary Adams. I neglected to go with the script and rolled right through it. So at this time, as you have in the previous election of the officers agenda item, Mary Adams is your next chair of the TAMC committee. So at this time, Mary, I'll visually give you in a virtual gavel pass. And so Mary, if you'll take it from here and then acknowledge some of the board members that might have a question on some of this regional transportation plan, and then you can take it to the public for the hearing.
Thank you very much, Ed. Thank you. And I'm also very happy that I didn't have to launch a coup, which I was fearful we may need to do this morning.
No, not at all. It's all yours. And I neglected to follow my script because I left my script somewhere else. So
well, thank you.
I was freelancing. So Mary, it's all yours.
Thank you very much. And we'll have an opportunity for comments from Ed later in the agenda. So with this, we will open the public hearing. And I'll see if there are any questions or comments from any members of the board at this point. I'm not seeing any hands raised, but I also admit that I'm working from a rather small laptop. So Eloise, if you see hands raised, please feel free to let me know those. Seeing none, then I think we should move forward with receiving comments from the public. Is there any member of the public that would like to make comments on the regional plan during this public hearing? It's fascinating. Nobody wants to talk about it? Geez. Okay, I see no members of the public that wish to comment on the regional plan. So I will close the public hearing and I will bring it back to the board for a motion.
Labar, move to approve.
Thank you very much.
Second.
Thank you very much. That's a motion by Mayor Labar, King City, and a second by Mayor Kerr from Delray Oaks. Eloise, if you could please call the roll for a vote.
District 1, Supervisor Alejo.
Aye.
District 2, Phillips.
Aye.
District 3, Supervisor Lopez.
Aye.
Supervisor Askew.
Aye.
District 5, Supervisor.
Aye.
City of Carmel by the Sea.
Aye.
City of Delray Oaks.
Aye.
City of Gonzales.
Aye.
City of Greenfield.
Aye.
City of King City.
Aye.
City of Marina.
Aye.
Monterey.
Aye.
City of Pacific.
Aye.
City of Salinas.
Aye.
City of Sand City. City of Seaside.
Aye.
City of Soledad.
Aye.
Chair, the motion passes unanimously.
Thank you very much for that. Now we'll move on to item number 7. And item number 7 is a presentation on the 2021 Transportation Excellence Awards. We're going to have this item presented by Teresa Wright. Teresa, I'll turn it to you.
Thank you, Supervisor Adams, very much. And hello, everyone. Thank you. We would like to present the Excellence Awards this year. And the awards are designed to recognize whether it's an individual, a business, a community group, an employee that's gone above and beyond their performance of their duty, or just a program or a project that has enhanced transportation in Monterey County. So with that, I'd like to present to you our 19th Annual Transportation Excellence Awards. So let me share screen with you and we shall get started. So this year, can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so this year what we're going to do is we're going to recognize 3 individuals, a business, a group, a community group, and then 4 projects. So hang on here and we'll start. So our first award is the individual awards category. And I'd like to present to you Norm Group. Norm was nominated by the SOS Group, advisory group, because Norm has from the very beginning been very supportive of their purpose and their goal, which is to improve transportation of the corridor there along 101 south of Salinas. The Alliance was very concerned about the number of injuries and fatalities that were occurring along that corridor, and they reached out to Norm, and so he met with them and started talking to it. It's just this grassroots organization, but ultimately he believed in their mission and their cause, and he was one of the first members of our community to step up to support them. And so they just view Norm as someone who's been an advocate for the cause. He has been available to them at all times of the day or night. He's made the Farm Bureau executive conference room available to them for their use. He endorsed them early on in the beginnings when they formed in 2017 and then officially in 2018. And so this group just recognizes all of the support and the advocacy and the fact that his commitment to being involved has helped move their purpose forward, which is to help make changements along that corridor. And then from the perspective of TAMC, I wanted to share a little bit about why I think Norm is such a great candidate for this. Early in 2015, when we went out to talk to the community and start talking about developing a transportation safety and investment plan and identifying what kind of projects would go in there, we reached out to some community members and we met with about 40 different people from all around Monterey County who had diverse interests. And they came to the table and met with us over the course leading up to what was then became Measure X in 2016, Norm was one of those people who was at the table, and he has not wavered. I can tell you that of those 40 people that sat around that table, almost 90% of them wanted to continue their involvement by serving on the Measure X Oversight Committee. Norm is one of those people. He's been at the table from day one. And so on this day, Norm Groot, Executive Director of the Monterey County Farm Bureau, we want to congratulate you. We want to thank you for everything that you have done to help improve transportation in Monterey County. So with that, we want to say congratulations to Norm Groot. And I'm going to stop sharing screen. I know Norm is on this call. And Norm, we will ask you if you would like to share any comments with us.
Sure, and thank you for that great introduction, Teresa. Really appreciate it, and thank you all for this honor. I humbly accept this for all of us who are working very hard to improve the Highway 101 corridor south of Salinas. My interest in transportation infrastructure really dates back to my native Orange County in Southern California, and really enduring the rebuild of the I-5 corridor through that Orange County area. At that time, I was commuting 53 miles one way, using up to 7 different freeways to get to my office and to make it on time each day. And this provided me an opportunity to watch how those transportation projects proceeded and the capacity and safety challenges that all of our freeways and side streets currently have. As Teresa said, I actively supported Measure X because I saw how Orange County really made a difference with their self-sufficient Measure M that helped provide a lot of the funding for their transportation projects. And I'm not advocating for 14 lanes of freeway here, believe me. We do have opportunities to improve the capacity and the safety of our main infrastructure corridors. I look forward to continuing the engagement on Highway 101 improvements, as well as other transportation projects that TAMC and other agencies will undertake to improve safety and connectivity in our county. And that's primarily through the funding of Measure X and the success that that's bringing us at this point. So again, thank you very much for this award and the honor of being a Transportation Excellence Award recipient.
Thank you, Norm. I see hands raised. Supervisor Adams, do you want to take it from here?
Yes, thank you very much, Teresa. That was a great presentation. Congratulations, Norm. Very well deserved. I see Supervisor Phillips has his hand raised.
Yeah, I wanted to just mention that Norm got involved with us because I was one of the co-chairs on the Measure X committee, and he got involved in a positive way with us, and he's been involved in a lot of other things in the county. So we really appreciate his positive involvement rather than so many people sit back and take shots at things. He gets in and gets them done. So appreciate all the work he does. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Phillips. And I see we have Mayor Craig's hand raised.
Yeah, I just want to acknowledge, Norm's advocacy on a myriad of levels has been remarkable, and particularly through the pandemic. I think I was on a myriad of Zoom calls, including, the ongoing discussion and narrative between the hospitality industry and the ag industry. Norm has been the one that has really reached across the aisle and continued formulating partnerships and making sure that everyone as a community is talking about regional issues. And so I would just not only acknowledge him as a transportation champion, but also just as a regional champion. And I appreciate when I'm on a meeting and I'm like, of course, Norm Groot is in the room. So I just want to say congratulations to you, and for anyone on this call, if you don't know Norm Groot, you should, and reach out to him because he likes his meetings and he's really good at getting people together and making sure that we're all working collaboratively. So thank you, Norm.
Thank you, Mayor Craig. And now we'll go to Supervisor Phillips. Supervisor Lopez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just want to congratulate Norm. Just to echo the comments that Mayor Craig made. People say I'm in a lot of meetings, but I can tell you every time I turn around in a very important one, Norm's there, and Norm's helping to pave the way to make progress. And this particular project that was the one that got him nominated is one that's just a perfect example of him being willing to be on the leading edge of progress to help improve our communities. So Norm, this award is very well deserved. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Supervisor Lopez. And then I'll ask if there's any member of the public that wishes to comment on this at this point. I'm not seeing any hand raised, so I'm going to turn it back over to Teresa.
Well, thank you all for the kind comments. Really appreciate it.
Well deserved.
All right, thanks. Let's get back to the presentations. And again, we're continuing with the individual awards. So let me advance this. All right, the next two individuals that we're going to honor are with Ecology Action. It's Amelia Conlon, who is their transportation planner, and Gino Garcia, who is their outreach specialist. And the reason that we're honoring both of these individuals is because they represent what I was talking about when I said people who go above and beyond to find creative ways to get their job done and go beyond what we're currently facing. So during the middle of the pandemic, the Salinas Safe Routes to School plan kicked off in the fall of 2019. And just as it was gearing up, the COVID mandates, shut in place, stay-at-home mandates went into effect. And so despite the pandemic, these two individuals had to figure out, all right, how are we going to advance this program? How are we going to continue to do what we planned to do, Mindset West, and to continue the project along, which included completely redoing their community engagement strategy that they had developed, conducting a citywide community survey, creating a neighborhood bingo game to collect input from families while providing a healthy outdoor activity, and participating in many more remote meetings with parents, student groups, and stakeholders than originally what was planned. And then on top of that, the two of them were very much involved and led the Seaside and Marina Safe Routes to School planning process, which resulted in a $12.04 million active transportation program grant for the city of Seaside. So from our perspective, it's pretty obvious to anyone who has worked with either Amelia or Gino that they really care about doing good work and making a difference. And so we feel very lucky to have them being involved with our programs, dedicated and talented partners working together with us to help make our streets safer for children and for the greater community. And for these reasons, we want to congratulate Amelia Conlon and Gino Garcia with Ecology Action and thank them for their work and their service. And with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen because I did see Amelia on the line. Not sure as Gino is here as well, but I certainly, if either one of them is here, I'd like to say to them, Amelia, I see you. Go ahead.
Hello. Good morning. We just wrapped up a principal meeting at Alisal High School. Happy to be here. Thank you so much for the recognition. I want to really appreciate my team and especially Gino for spending countless hours on Zoom virtual parent meetings. And we're looking forward to more great projects to improve safe routes to schools in our community. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Amelia. Thank you very much. Very well deserved.
And Gino, I think, is here as well.
Oh, great.
If you would like to say anything.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much. It's an honor to be recognized. It's been such an incredible experience, just having the ability to work with families all throughout the county. There was mention of the plans that happen in Seaside Marina and currently in Salinas. That's my favorite part of the work that I do is really that interaction that we have with families, with students, and even through the pandemic, you know, just seeing everyone just rise to the occasion and you know, really embrace the technological tools that still allowed us to stay in touch. So it's been a pleasure, and it's been a pleasure working with TAMC and all the officials that are also a part of the plans that we work on. So thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Gino. And I will go to the board to see if anyone wishes to make comments. And I see Supervisor Root Askew has her hand raised.
Yeah, thank you. Just a huge shout out. I mean, these two are doing phenomenal work in our community, and what I saw in terms of the planning process that went into Safe Routes to School on the peninsula, the community, the way in which you meet community where they're at, to solicit their feedback, and then bring all of the official players together to be a part of moving things forward. I mean, this project that we've got in Seaside and the funding, it's not just about the safe routes to school and the way in which our kids and our families are going to be safer. It's really engaging additional conversations about redevelopment and the vision that we want for our community. We're talking about so many other things that spurred as a result of how do we create a community. You gave us the chance to create that vision, and I'm thrilled that the Safe Routes to School is that you guys are doing work in Salinas, and that we just approved this Salinas Valley expansion as well. This is the kind of community I want to raise my son in, and you guys are making those visions, helping us as a community understand what that vision can be and what we should be expecting and asking for. So I just want to say thank you. I love working with you guys, and I'm thrilled that we get to have you doing work for us here in Monterey County.
Thank you so much, Supervisor Rudascu. Those are really terrific words. And now I will go to Board Member Alejandro Chavez.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to, congratulate Amelia and Gino. Had an opportunity to work with them through work here in Salinas, and their engagement with our neighborhoods and our business community, small businesses, although very tough and not easy to do so. I want to congratulate you for sticking through it and really working hard to try to smooth things over for a very tough constituency. East Salinas and the LSL is a very special place, and it is not the easiest place to work with all the time, especially with the small businesses, because everybody has a different interest. But I think that you guys did the best that you could and worked really, really hard. And I really, really appreciate all the hard work that you guys put into it. And so I just want to congratulate you on that. And then I didn't speak on Norm, but Norm, thank you so much for all the work that you've done in collaboration also with us, and working with some of the work that my work is at right now, doing, trying to bring some broadband into East Salinas, high-speed broadband, and your collaborative work as well with different groups is shown, and that is why you also have received this award. So thank you to all of you.
Thanks very much, Board Member Chavez. And I see no other board members' hands raised, so I'll just ask if there's any member of the public that would like to comment on this award. Eloise, are you seeing anything?
Norm Groot has his hand raised.
Okay, Supervisor Norm.
It was just an applause hand supporting this. They've done some great work, and we're fully supportive of how we can move this forward in the community and expand it throughout the county. So it was just more acknowledgement, applause.
Those things are good. So thank you, both Amelia and Gino. This is a very important award to get, the 2021 Transportation Excellence Award. So I really applaud and congratulate you. And I see now Brian McMinn has his hand raised.
Yes, Brian McMinn, Public Works Director for the City of Marina. Not surprised at all that Amelia and Gino are receiving this award. It was my pleasure working with them on our Safe Routes to School plan and seeing their efforts in the outreach to the community. So they're doing great things wherever they go.
Brian, thank you so much for coming on and adding your comments. It's really wonderful. I appreciate that so much. Okay, seeing none additional comments, I'm going to turn it back to Teresa for the group nominee.
Okay, I'll go back to the presentation, and hopefully, I believe I had it in the wrong mode earlier, so I hope that this is the correct way for you to see this. We're going to go on to the business category. So let's do that, hopefully. This group is for a grassroots group. It's the South of Salinas SOS US 101 Traffic Safety Alliance. And as I told you earlier, this is really a grassroots organization that started in 2017. They officially formed in 2018, and there were 7 founding members who got together, volunteers who felt concerned about wanting to improve traffic safety conditions along the US 101 just south of Salinas. And so this group worked together, and they came together intending to work with local, state, and federal organizations. And they really were concerned about this. What you see on your screen is the hazardous conditions that cross traffic and people crossing the highway and the fatalities and the accidents that have happened along there. You can see that there by some of these images here that were taken.
Teresa,
courtesy of-
we don't see your slideshow. We just see
Oh,
you.
excuse me. I'm sorry. Hang on. Let me go back. Can you see that?
Yes. Thank
Everyone
you.
see my screen? Okay,
Yes,
sorry
Teresa.
about that.
Then
Yes,
go ahead. Go ahead and hit full screen, Teresa.
Hang on.
Actually, just a current slide, show it from current slide. Teresa.
Hang on. Okay. It should be showing.
In the bottom right, just next to the slide bar is. There you go.
Yes.
All
right.
Oh, well.
Mike, do you want to take this over? Shall I stop screen and I'll let Mike take it over?
Sure. Yeah, I can bring it up.
All right, hang on. Sorry about that, everyone. We'll go to the business, right? Number 9. All right, thank you so much for your patience. My apologies again. So, US 101, South of Salinas Traffic Safety and Alliance, and Michael, if you'll go to the next slide there, this shows you some of the conditions that I was talking about and what their concerns were. So this grassroots group came together and said, well, how can we address this? Who do we need to bring to the table? Who do we need to talk to? And so they formed and they started meeting. Their goal was to meet with elected officials, community members, and TAMC, Caltrans, Monterey County Public Works, and local leaders, such as we mentioned earlier when we talked about Norm Group, to bring them to the table. Mike, if you can advance to the next slide. They came to the table and they started meeting with folks, and you can see here on your screen some of the folks that came and said, yeah, let's talk, let's see what we can do to make this happen. And then if you'll go to the next slide, this organization, these grassroots folks have hosted town hall meetings. You can see here, the goal here is really, how do we work with our elected officials and TAMC to come up with some short and long-term and midterm improvements that can happen along that corridor, and particularly these intersections here that you see identified on the screen. Mike, if you can go to the next one. They stay committed, they have been involved, and you see their purpose on the screen there, is they're committed to working together with TAMC, community leaders, local, state, and federal officials on long-term solutions. And so for that reason, we want to thank the US 101 South of Salinas Safety Alliance, and we want to recognize them for their engagement, for their advocacy, for their willing to help to find solutions that we can all make it safer for not only Monterey County residents, but the visitors, and to improve the transportation of goods within our region. So with that, we thank them. I know that a couple of them are on this phone call and on the line. So Mike, if you can stop there, we'll go out to, I did see Laura. I'm not sure who else is here.
Let's go to Laura, and if you'd like to unmute yourself. There we go.
Hi, I want to thank TAMC and the board for the recognition. I'm going to actually punt and have Janie say a few words on behalf of the Alliance, but one of my only other shout outs, please, is to Chris Lopez, our supervisor, and Norm Groot have both been steadfast supporters in getting us to this point. So thank you, and I'll hand it off to Janie.
Thank you, Laura. Jane, are you there? Yeah.
Yes.
Hi, thank you, Laura. And I know that Butch, our other fellow Alliance member, Butch Lindley, is on a phone call. So he's one of the cell numbers on here. But like Laura said, I just want to thank all of the stakeholders, all of the groups we've worked with, the electeds. You just have made this process we've worked through the difficulties together because of the strength of the collaboration and your willingness to come together. And Laura, we all have very personal connections to the corridor and to those regions. And for me, I grew up going to school at Spreckles and taking the bus across 101 to get dropped off at my father's business off of Spence Road. And it's scary. It was scary, 38 plus years ago. And now I've got my daughter, who was one of the little girl in one of those bubble pictures. And Laura's now got her granddaughter Rebel with her. And we're really just committed. One of our other founding members, Holly, she's got 2 kids. We're just really committed to making improvements along that corridor so that we don't have loss of life. We don't have injuries. We can move products through the corridor. We can continue to support tourism and moving commuters up and down the valley and from all over the nation, really getting products out to support feeding the nation. So it's just been a tremendous experience. And for me personally, I have so appreciated getting involved and being more aware of what's going on in the county and in ways that we can serve. So thank you so much for this honor. And we're going to continue until we see those improvements happen. I've said it before, we've got until my daughter's 16 and she will be 5 next month. So we're on track.
Thank you so much for your comments. Thanks to both of you for being with us this morning, and congratulations on your award. I know there's several people who would like to speak to thank and honor you as well. And I'll start with Supervisor John Phillips.
Yeah, thank you. And I appreciate your hard work. And it reminds me some of what was done 25 years ago with the mothers that got together in Prunedale. Because if you remember, we used to have a left-hand turn onto San Miguel in Prunedale and Espinoza. And now that we've got the interchanges out there at San Juan and San Miguel and Sala Road, this is the most dangerous stretch of highway that we have on 101 corridor. And it's kind of the last piece to come together. And the only way we get something done is a group like you're coming together and just being tenacious about it. So we really do appreciate your hard work and keeping all of us vigilant about the problem out there. So thank you.
Thanks, Supervisor Phillips. And I'll go now to Supervisor Lopez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to say thank you to Laura and Janie and Butch and everybody else who's played such a key role in keeping this project at the forefront. And Janie, I'll never forget the story you told us. I think it was the first time I met you, and you told me the first lesson you got from your dad was when you were traveling southbound, you never turn your wheels towards 101 until you're ready to drive, because if somebody hit you from behind, the wheels would guide you into oncoming traffic. And just that sort of a lesson to have to be given to a 16-year-old at such an intersection in our community showed the need. And now getting to watch through Facebook, unfortunately due to COVID, Claire Bear grow up, and knowing that we've got a goal of the day she gets her license to make sure that this project gets done. I'm hoping it's done long before then. But thank you all for your continued commitment to getting this project done. This award is well deserved. I know we still have a long path in front of us, but as has been said several times, it's the tenacious nature of your willingness to engage with everybody and anybody to make sure this project happens, which deserves to be commended. So I'm proud to call you all friends, and thank you all for the continued work to get our communities to a safer place. Congratulations.
Thank you, Supervisor Lopez. Supervisor Root Askew.
Yeah, thank you. When you talk about regional projects of regional significance, I'm not sure that there's anything that ranks higher than this particular project. When you talk about the significance of the product that comes through just agricultural product, but the human life that this is the entryway into the entire county. And I think it was a couple years ago that I first learned about the South of Salinas, the group of moms and grandmoms and grandpas who were getting together and had a chance to take a tour. And just the personal commitment and the personal stories. Nothing happens because a group of electeds get together and say, let's make something happen. Really, we know that the reason that things happen and that change happens and that improvements and resources are allocated is because the community voice is loud and allows electeds to then work in partnership. And you guys are just the most perfect story, the most perfect example of that. And because of the way in which you tell stories and the way in which you organize, it allows people like me who don't represent the district that the project is in to be able to bring the significance of that back and explain why this needs to be a priority when I'm in meetings and other spaces. So I want to really recognize like you guys really are a model of how to get things done and how to bring people together to explain the concrete, but also make that emotional connection. And I just want to say thank you for the time and outreach that you've done, because it is making a difference, and it is what's going to allow us to get the improvements made that need to be made out there. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Supervisor Rudascu. And now we have Mayor LaBarre.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I just want to echo what Supervisor Rudascu had said. I find this very amazing and unique within Monterey County, is that it is groups of individuals that come together to solve problems. I was mentioned earlier, a lot of times, and I've seen it in other areas, people complain. But our county is very special. And I appreciate all the work that you're doing, because you're looking not out just for your families and your businesses, you're looking out for everyone. And I appreciate the fact that you're just out there every day and you haven't let up. Well-deserved. Just well-deserved award, and thank you, and keep it up. And I love the little one. We got to see more pictures of them. Brings a smile.
Thank you, Mayor LaBarre.
Thank you all.
Thank you. It's not just well-deserved, it's really well-earned. You put the work in, and that's one of the most important things that one can do on a project like this. You're community organizers in the best possible way. So thank you and congratulations again. And let me see if there are any members of the public that wish to comment on this award. Oh, it's Norm Groot again. He's got his hand up.
All the patients keep up telling me they're like,
Yeah, thank you. And I won't belabor the point here, but I did want to say, it's been a pleasure being involved in this particular one, because it is really the best example of grassroots community collaboration together and really coming together to look at solutions rather than, as Mayor LaBarre just said, complain. I think we've really looked at it very positively on how we can really advance this. And there's been a lot of great ideas that have come through this collaboration. So much support for this award, for the efforts put forward, and well-deserved. And also thank you for the coalition for nominating me for the individual award. Didn't expect that, but really it's been a pleasure being involved in this. And this is the type of collaboration we need in our community to really help some of these really serious problems that we have in finding solutions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Norm. And now I will look back to Teresa.
Okay, thank you. So the next category that we're going to go into are the programs and projects. And the first one that we want to present is the City of Marina. And we're recognizing the City of Marina today because of their first use of what is sustainable pavement recycling technology on their Reservation Road cold and clay recycling project. And Mike, you can go ahead and advance the screen. On the left there, you see what the condition of Reservation Road was like. I'm one of those people that travel that road every day, so I can tell you and attest to the potholes. And so really this was an effort for the city to make some changes and make some improvements to a roadway, which is an integral part of the city's downtown corridor. And it's also a major arterial for commuters, for regional traffic going to and from the Monterey Peninsula and the Salinas Valley. And so their rehabilitation project took place. Mike can go ahead and advance it. It's 3.5 miles, stretch miles on Reservation Road. And as you can see, this is a project that was partially funded by Measure X. This is another example of the ability to leverage and to get things done in Monterey County based upon the sales tax. So what they did was they consulted, and let me just go back for just a second and say, this is also very critical, the work that they did here, because as Mike had mentioned earlier, the MGEM project is going to go in effect, and construction is anticipated to start in the summer. So there's going to be a lot of folks who are going to be relying on Reservation Road detouring to get back and forth. So it's critical that the city did the work at the time that they did. And so working with the consultants, they utilized a pavement analysis by Perrick Geotechnical Engineering, and then they hired Kimberly Horn to develop a pavement rehabilitation plan comparing traditional highway pavement versus cold and play. And the result was that they went with the cold and play. Michael, you can go ahead and advance. And so ultimately, this project rehabilitated the failing pavement. The results were that the project had a total greenhouse gas emission reduction of 79%, energy savings at 76%, and a project cost savings of $650,000 when compared to what they would have done traditionally. As you can see here on the screen, it talks about addressing areas of stormwater ponding on the south side of the roadway, narrowing the lane widths to encourage slower traffic. And so for all of these reasons and for the work that they did, we are honored today to recognize the City of Marina and their partners. And we can go ahead and advance the slide there. You see their partners on the screen: the City of Marina, Granite Rock Company, Perrick Geotechnical Engineering, Kimberly Horn Engineering, CSG Consultants, and Pacific Crest Engineering. We congratulate them on their Reservation Road Code and Play recycling project, and wish to thank them and say congratulations to their honorees. So there you go. You can stop. I know Brian McMahon is on the line. Sure.
There we go. Okay, thank you so much, Teresa. And now if, I will go to Brian. If I can find him on my screen. I know you were there earlier, so you must be there.
Yes, thank you, Chair.
There you
Again, Brian McMahon, Public Works Director for the City of Marina. And, you know, they mentioned all the great things that it does for the environment. But, you know, from the perspective of Public Works Director, having to maintain all the streets in the city and working through backlogs of maintenance and the increasing cost of doing this, saving $650,000 and working in more innovative ways to stretch that dollar is really important to us. And I think this is really kind of an example of the direction that things are going to be going. Doesn't make much sense to grind out a perfectly good aggregate, haul it away for recycling when you can do it on site and cut down on all that trucking that's required. So we had a great team on this, and I know you do have a board member from Marina there that would like to speak as well.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And we have Christina Medina Dirksen with us today. If you would like to unmute yourself. There we go.
Here we go. I want to say thank you to all of you who were the proponents of Measure X and who worked once, twice, 3 times a charm to get the funding possible. Just last night, we were on council mulling the failed streets that we have. We're a middle-aged city, 45 years old, probably with streets much older than that. And so we're kind of coming into really leveraging the Measure X money for projects like this. That is a very busy corridor. It rains out there, potholes. We've got Joby Aviation out there. So, you know, on behalf of the city, I want to thank the team, and I want to thank this board for investing in the infrastructure, because that is what's going to make our industries thrive and provide taxpayers a real sense of their tax dollars at work. So thank you, Brian McMahon. Thank you to this board and everybody who was instrumental in having that tenacity to ensure that the infrastructure needs of the county are addressed and equitably addressed. So thank you very, very much, all of you, and come on down and drive that road with us. Hopefully we'll be seeing some more projects.
Thank you so much, Councilwoman.
Congresswoman, what?
I know, I'm slipping up here.
Okay.
Now, thank you. And we'll now go to Idri de los Santos.
Thank you. I was the project manager for this project, and doing a CIR that's not really fully adopted by Caltrans. It takes a big team. I wanted to thank Timothy Miller with Kinley Horn, who is our project engineer for this. Spencer Wright with Granite Rock Construction. He really helped walk us through the entire process, help us benefit from the, of course, the cost reductions, as Brian said, but also the really the sustainability process that we're adopting now into our pavement management program. And then Parikh and we also use Pacific Crest for our material testing. It took a large team that worked really well together to get the project done on time and under budget. So thank you guys that are out there, and we hope to do more projects with them soon.
Thank you so much for your comments, and thank you for all of the work that you put into making this such a big success. Are there any members of the board that would like to comment on this item? I'm seeing none. I will move to the public. Is there any member of the public that would like to comment on this award? Thank you. Seeing none, I will go back to Teresa Wright.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
So the next one is also a project, and it took place in the city of Castroville, and we're going to recognize the County of Monterey for their Cooper Street Pavement Rehabilitation Project. And so we can go ahead and advance to the next slide. So this is in the community of Castroville, and it was a $500,000 project, which consisted of a total of 16 curb ramps that were reconstructed to meet newest ADA standards. You can see there by the photos on the screen the condition of the road. This is just as the construction was gonna start. And then go to the next one, please, the next slide. And this is what we were talking about, some of the improvements that were done. So it included not only meeting ADA standards, but the installation of new sidewalks adjacent to the Cooper residence and the restriping of markings on the roadway to enhance pedestrian and traffic safety. The work on this project addressed the needs of the residents, as well as the travelers who use Cooper Street. Mike, you can go ahead and advance this by making improvements. And this is some of the after photos that you can see here. And so really the improvements not only were for folks that were in their cars traveling through or trucks traffic, but also for pedestrians. And we can advance this. And particularly, they made it safer for kids who were traveling along Cooper Street, and also making it safer for kids who are walking to or from or riding their bikes to North Monterey County Middle School. And so for all of those reasons, we want to congratulate the County of Monterey and also the County of Monterey Public Works Department, as well as Teacher Corporation, Abel's Concrete, and congratulate them for the work that they did, and the city of Castroville, and making improvements to make it all safer for all of us who travel along that corridor, and most certainly for the residents who live there and for the children who are going to school there. So for that, we congratulate them. And I do believe that there are a couple people who are on this call and in this meeting that may want to speak.
Absolutely. And if he will hold off for just a second, I'll come back to Supervisor Phillips when we do the board. But I see that Randy Ishii, who nominated this project, is on the call. So I think I'll take him first before we go to board comments. Supervisor Randy.
Thank you very much, Chair Adams and members of the board, and good morning to you all. On behalf of Monterey County, we greatly appreciate this distinction and recognition that you're providing to us and to the project team here today for the Cooper Street Pavement Project. As your board recalls, there were a list of campaign projects that were carried forward for advocacy with the Measure X funding program. This project is just one of the many in the Measure X street repair program, where local streets for communities such as Castroville, Pajaro, and others are being rehabilitated using those Measure X dollars. Cooper Street was just the first that we were doing in the community of Castroville, which extended from State Route 183, aka Merritt Street, all the way to the North County Middle School. So that way residents and school buses and the children will be able to have a improved roadway and a pedestrian safer roadway for that multimodal travel to and from school. With me today is the project team, and it is thanks to the project team to carry forward this project. So I want to recognize Enrique Saavedra and Jonathan Pasqua, senior civil engineers for the county, project manager Jose Gomez, and assistant engineer Barney Guzman, as well as our contractor Tiger Construction and their subcontractors for getting this project completed. But by far, the people that we want to thank are the community for voting in the Measure X program and making this possible with this additional funding and going through those pains in their pocket. And with that, I believe that I will hand it over to the project team, Enrique or Jonathan, if they would like to say a few words.
Thank you, Randy. Good morning, TAMC board. Again, I just want to echo some of the comments Randy mentioned. This was a team effort by the staff here at Public Works in working with our contractors. I especially want to recognize or kind of bring to the board's attention the work done by Jose Gomez. He is a Castroville native. He knows the community fairly well, and he worked closely with the school. Like it was demonstrating the photos of the different school paths that were reconstructed. But also he worked with the Castroville Community District for their utility, make sure the utilities were not impacted by our work. So again, I just want to thank Jose and Barney for working with the community to make sure the work was done, as disruptive or least disruptive as possible. So thank you, Jose and Barney.
And thank you, Enrique. And Chair, before I yield the floor back to the board, staff would like to conclude with a comment that this is just the first of the many local street repair projects we'll be doing that we're campaigning for in the Measure X program. We're continuing on this next budget season, and we're continuing with roads in Castroville this fiscal year, and we're going to continue carrying that forward in our capital improvement program for years to come, improving those local streets. And thank you very much. Staff yields the floor to your board.
Thank you so much, Randy, and thank you, Enrique, as well. It's just a very exciting time, but I'm not going to take the time up because I know Supervisor Phillips is chomping at the bit to make his comments.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This was a big thing for us to start getting moving in doing some of the roads in Castroville. We talk about, and it was mentioned, Castroville is a city. Well, Castroville is not a city. It's I don't have a city in any of my districts out here. You got Pajaro, Las Lomas, Aromas, Castroville, but we don't have any cities, and we have to compete with the county for money. But our roads aren't up to the standards of the other cities in our county, and I know Supervisor Lopez and I are always fighting for our disadvantaged communities. He's fighting for San Lucas. We're fighting for Castroville and the other ones. But this was critical as showing our community that the county is starting to really start improving the roads in Castroville, especially this area that's the main thoroughfare to our middle school. It was a big safety issue. So I thank Randy. Hopefully this is just a start as we start moving forward. And this is part of the reasons that so many of us work so hard on Measure X to start getting the money out where it belongs on our roads in our communities. So thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. And I'll just weigh in. I don't see any other board members' hands raised, but I just want to really echo what you said, John. I also feel like when people are treated with respect in every way and having good streets in your area where you live, it just makes you feel better. And I'm very thankful that we are able to provide the kind of support that's needed to be able to just raise the profile for communities like Castroville and what a difference it makes for a street. So thank you for that. And now I'll go out to the public and see if there's any member of the public that wishes to comment on this item. Seeing none, I'm going to turn it back over to Teresa. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So the next two awards, and these are two final for projects, are for the city of Salinas. So the first one is their Salinas Vision Zero Action Plan. And Mike, you can go ahead. Thank you. So the city of Salinas adopted this Salinas Vision Plan and Zero Plan in February 11th, actually on that date, February 11th, 2020. And they directed their staff to develop a Vision Zero action plan. And if we can go ahead to the next slide, Vision Zero is a strategy and is designed to eliminate traffic fatalities and severe injuries while increasing safe, healthy, equitable mobility. And this slide here pretty much says it all. It's about safe travel for everyone. So they want to be able to provide safe streets, safe speeds, safe vehicles, and ultimately safe people. And so this is a movement that began in Europe and has spread across to American cities. And it's rooted in the philosophy that no loss of life due to road crashes is acceptable or inevitable, and therefore sets the goal of reducing fatalities and severe injuries to zero. So we can advance this. The city, this is the development, this plan through community outreach. It's a driven process. It involved a variety of project partners with different disciplines. And over the course of a year and a half, Salinas staff worked with a wide range of stakeholders and community members who participated in online surveys during the pandemic and came to community workshops to develop the action plan. As a result of their work, and we can advance the slide, the plan identified high collision corridors within the city where fatal and severe injuries were occurring. And they also developed, this next one, slide please, they developed the GIS technology that helps identify high collision corridor intersections where a higher frequency of collisions were occurring so they could evaluate it to achieve the goal of zero fatalities and serious injuries most effectively. We can advance this next one. And so the Vision Zero plan, it's really a functional equivalent that's going to be required to be eligible for Federal Highway Safety Improvement Program grant money, which provides millions of dollars, federal dollars, to local safety improvement projects. And this federal grant program is a critical funding source for the city of Salinas. And so for all of those reasons, the adoption of the Vision Zero action plan keeps the city eligible and competitive, and they will continue to work towards this goal of having zero fatalities within their cities. So they're going to continue to do that to their goal is met. And so for that reasons, we want to recognize the city of Salinas for this project. And again, this is a project, this development of this Vision Zero action plan was funded with a state grant through the leveraging of Measure X. And so with that, I'll stop, and I don't know if the city wants to say anything at this point, or if we could go on to the next one. So I'll stop and give it back to you, Chair, and see what we want to do.
Thank you. I see that Supervisor, here we go. That
you can go ahead and copy Supervisor Craig.
Mayor. I'm going to stop using titles. He wants to talk. Thank you, Mayor.
There goes my light. So now I'm in the dark, which is not ironic. So I want to just go ahead and acknowledge the prior council. As Teresa mentioned, it was passed by Mayor Gunter and the council in 2020. But understanding and recognizing that we have had a significant increase in pedestrian fatalities, it was really a commitment, not only by the previous council, but this current council, in identifying that, you know, when you're talking about roads and streets, there's often a lot of discussion about how many cars and at what speed and everything along those lines, but not necessarily how many actual pedestrians, how many humans are crossing those streets. What does that look like? And we have just identified that we have some really critical areas where, you know, we have residents that don't have cars. And so there is a direction by council to staff and an understanding by staff that that is absolutely a priority when prioritizing projects for infrastructure needs. And so Vision Zero, we're really proud of it. We're committed to lowering the number of pedestrian fatalities. And I recognize I'm a little biased on the project compared to the other Transportation Excellence Awards, but I do really think that there is a movement within our city and within our leadership to identify and reduce the amount to zero of pedestrian fatalities in our wonderful city of Salinas. So very grateful for the award. I don't know if we have staff on the call right now, but happy to accept the award otherwise, if somebody would like to speak. I don't know if we do or not. Do we, Teresa?
I didn't see Andrew earlier. I don't see him now. But he was the person I was expecting. So thank you.
Well, yeah, my pleasure. I mean, it's been a real push and an effort by both staff and admin to make sure that we are following those guidelines to help reduce pedestrian fatalities. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Mayor. And now we take it out to the public. Is there any member of the public that wishes to comment on this item? Not seeing anyone, then I will turn it back over to Teresa.
Okay, and thank you. And Mayor Craig, stand by, because this is also the city of Salinas. So we want to recognize the city for their Salinas Downtown Complete Streets program, the project that they did. And this, again, is a project that had a lot of community outreach, right? They wanted to get input and inform the community about what they were going to do. So we can go on to the next slide. This project was really about implementing a road diet on West Alisal Street, converting it from a 4-lane road to a 3-lane road with buffered bike lanes. And so the lane reduction provided critical safety improvements for all of the roadway users. And again, we're talking about what was just mentioned in Vision Zero, not only traffic from vehicles, but also for pedestrians, bicyclists. And we can advance this next slide. So some of the work that they did was they channelized turn pockets. You can see that here, where there's this left turn lane. They were working on separating car drivers from the other traffic. Bicyclists would have dedicated space separated from the vehicles. Pedestrians would be able to cross West Alisal Street with fewer lanes of traffic. And we can go ahead and advance the next slide. The project improved safety for everyone without having to remove hardly any of the on-street parking. And the scope of the project included traffic signal modifications, sidewalks, ADA ramps, storm drains, traffic signing, traffic striping, the installation of a fiber optic communication system for future broadband, and coordination of Alisal Street traffic signals for improving traffic signal operations and other improvements. And we can go ahead and advance this, Michael. So the project limits were on West Alisal Street, set between Blanco Road and Front Street. And the Complete Streets project was an element of the Salinas Downtown Vibrancy Plan. We can go ahead and advance it. And the Transportation Agency's Marina to Salinas Multimodal Corridor Plan. Both of these projects involved, in fact, all of these projects involved public outreach. And both of the planning documents that I just mentioned to you, the Salinas Downtown Vibrancy Plan and the Transportation Agency's Marina to Salinas Multimodal Corridor Plan, have been adopted as strategic planning documents with a very broad and expansive recommendations. We can go ahead and advance. So the road diet on West Alisal Street, and one more, Michael, is this just one piece of these larger planning documents. And so this, as you can see, the before at the top here on the right and the after there on the bottom. And for all of those reasons, we would like to congratulate the city of Salinas once again, this time for their Salinas Downtown Complete Streets project. And we are good there, Michael? And Mayor Craig.
I'd like to thank the Academy,
right?
My manager, and just very briefly, I will acknowledge that this particular project isn't without its challenges. And one of those, I'll just give the example that I was trying to make a right on Church Street and realized that just out of habit, I pulled over to the right lane and got in, and then realized that I was in the green painted bicycle lane as a vehicle, right? So there's a lot of behavioral changes that are occurring right now on Alisal in particular, just because it's been that way for decades, right? So that it is part of that strategy in terms of making it more pedestrian friendly, particularly in our downtown area, and very grateful for the award. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. And I see we have Mayor Labar's hand raised.
Thank you, Madam Chair. One is I just want to commend Salinas for the work that they're doing. And a lot of these projects, the infrastructure improvements, it hasn't really quite been mentioned, was how they just really get the community to have more pride within their community. The improvements of sidewalks, the Vision Zero, the improvements on West LaSalle, the ones in Castroville. When the community members see that happening, it does build pride, and that pride is so important for us elected to this board, right? For the things that we do. So great job, Salinas, always leading it as always, and have a good one.
Thank you, Mayor. And now we have Supervisor Lopez's hand is raised.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a brief comment and commend the city of Salinas on this project and for one of the other small pieces of this project. And when I say small, I'm being a little facetious, is the undergrounding and improvement of all the other infrastructure for that particular community, that entire business corridor. So improved internet, improved access that is going to bring in more businesses. And so looking at the backside of those investments, knowing that that was more than just the top level surface that the community sees, but what's underneath that makes the future of business possible in Salinas and in Monterey County. So just wanted to commend the city of Salinas upon those investments and that great task that they pulled off.
Thank you, Supervisor. And seeing no more board members' hands raised, I'll go out to the public and see if anyone in the public wishes to comment on this item. Seeing none, I'll come back for any close from Teresa on this.
I do have one more thing that I'd like to present to the committee. And I'm actually going to turn this over to our executive director, Todd Muck, because each year we also recognize employees' years of service. And we have 20-year TAMC service and 15-year service. So with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Muck.
Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa. Each year we take advantage of the Excellence Awards and recognize staff who achieved major milestones in employment at the agency. And this last year we have 3 staff who have been at the agency for 20 years, and that includes Dave Delfino, our finance officer, Christina Watson, our director of planning, and Debbie Hale reached 20 years before she retired last year. And I just wanted to mention that Dave and Christina and Debbie, and then for 15 years, we have Rita Goyle, our Director of Finance and Administration, and Mike Zeller, our Director of Programming and Project Delivery. And this group really represents the foundation of Team TAMC. We get a lot done with a relatively small group of people. Dave is the person who keeps all that Measure X money flowing to the cities and making sure it goes to the right projects for the regional projects. Christina is tenacious in pursuing the rail projects and has grown significantly, and now is our director of planning. Rita provides a ton of sage advice as our director of finance and administration. And Mike is kind of the wears all the hats in the office. He does all of our IT work and programming and leading a lot of different efforts. So I just wanted to take a moment to express my appreciation for all of their hard work at TAMC. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Muck. And I expect I will need to take a motion to receive the reports. And I want to see if there's any member of the board that wishes to make any comments on this, other than just tremendous thanks for all of the time and the effort and the work that the employees have put in. It's what makes the team work. So thank you all for so much.
I'm sure I move approval and to speak briefly if I get a second.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Oglesby second.
Oglesby second. Thank you.
So Todd, you said it very well. As a senior member of this organization, I'm really, really proud of the people that have worked for this organization. You know, we grow our own here. You guys have done a fantastic job. And Christina, you and I have traveled many miles around the state together. You've become a well-respected advocate for rail. And I've really enjoyed working with you. I know Michael has, and I've enjoyed working with all of you. So hopefully we'll continue to excel in creating our own A team. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Is there anyone else who wishes to comment? Seeing no hands raised, I'll go out to the public. Is there any member of the public that that wishes to comment? Nope. Okay. Then this comes with tremendous thanks from all of us. And I think at this time I saw something on the screen that was going to allow us to speak to our outgoing board chair.
Yes.
Thank you.
One last item for the Excellence Awards is also the time that we show our appreciation for the outgoing chair. Ed Smith has had the con at TAMC for a very tumultuous year, getting through our COVID experience. He's probably he's the first and hopefully the last chair to lead all virtual meetings throughout the year. And for that effort itself, that was quite a bit. And also to lead the agency through the transition with Debbie retiring and me coming on as the executive director. I appreciate his leadership through all of that. So thank you, Ed, for your service.
Oh, thank you very much, Todd. Chair, if I might make a few comments.
Please do.
Yeah, thank you very much. I just want to be very brief and acknowledge the support and excellence of our staff. We have an amazing staff at TAMC. And, when you're a board member and you attend the meetings, it's one thing to see the packets, but being able to actually undo the onion, so to speak, and be able to have very frequent conversations with members of the staff, you really see the outstanding personalities and professionalism that we have with our TAMC staff. This has been, quite a year. You've all, as electeds, experienced the same thing for your cities or the counties or wherever you're elected. And that with the pandemic, it's been quite the year as we continue, but we're looking forward to 2022 to be at a point where we start to come back together as members of this board. This last year, you as a board had quite a number of action items. Each year, the board allows the outgoing chair to have a letter to the community. And in that letter, I wanted to acknowledge the fact that we can't do this without our members of our community and the support that we get from our community. It's evidenced in what we just recently took on was the Transportation Excellence Awards. There was a theme there, and I just wanted to highlight some of the themes that we all share as board members of TAMC and shepherded with the fine staff that we have. The theme of the spirit that we all share, shared values that we have, that we really are organized around the collective good and the collective effort of our communities. And we have a very diverse Monterey County, and we're so pleased and privileged to be able to live here and participate in that. But we collaborate. We collaborate around the quality of life. And we embrace the projects through TAMC and the staff and the initiatives. And we got to see many of the great initiatives that are through the Transportation Excellence Awards. And I wanted to point out a theme there that Chris Lopez related a story about the wheels turned into traffic. And I just take that to go to wheels going forward are northbound. And I think this board has a focus of being northbound. In other words, we like to see projects. We want to get timely projects. And it takes a lot of effort and the opportunity to leave our world and place our world in a place of improvement is really what we all live for. But I am so pleased to see that this board this last year has been very, very strategic, has been outstanding at supporting each other. And the TAMC work is something that I know that the community notices and appreciates. And thank you all board members for this past year, and look forward to the change with a little more time that now will be Mary's to take over, and we pass the gavel, Mary. And I'm pleased to have served you all for this last year and look forward to 2022 with some more exciting projects and more great things to come as we collaborate and find ways to leave the world in a better place, which is really what we all serve for, is to find opportunities to collaborate and get along and get things done. And change does not mean loss. Change looks for opportunities. And that's what TAMC is all about. Thank you all for the year.
Thank you so much, Ed. You leave very big shoes to fill. And I'm not just talking about the size 13s that you wear. But I appreciate very much the opportunity to just honestly thank you. You really did have to do a lot of heavy lifting this year with all of the virtual meetings, with the change of leadership on the staff team. And you did it so well that I thank you coming in because you've done all the heavy lifting. So I really appreciate the sound leadership that you've brought to the entire board. And I know you leave your mark on our community in so many ways. And this is merely one additional star in that crown that I know you're polishing up from time to time. So thank you again so much.
Thank you so much, Mary.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And now I will come back to the question that I had before, which is, do we need to have a motion to accept the transportation awards and the staff awards, or have we simply received them?
You've just received them. You've just received them.
Okay, excellent.
Thank
and
you.
Thank you so much, Teresa, for organizing all of this. Very well done. And I know that there are many people out there who are already working to try to get the award for the 2022 Transportation Excellence Awards.
Can I just plug the fact that next year will be our 20th? So I definitely am encouraging everybody who's here to think about that and think about projects that you might want to submit next year. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you so much. This was an excellent series of morning presentations. And now we're going to get back to the agenda, and we are going to be on item number 8, which is to receive an update on the state and federal legislative issues and adopt the final 2022 legislative program. This will be presented by Christina Watson, and we will also have presentations. She will be joined by Paul Schlesinger and his colleague, Jim Davenport, who are our federal advocates, as well as Gus Curry, who is our state advocate. So with that, I'm turning it over to to Christina. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair Adams. Yes, so we're going to start off with a state legislative update from Gus Curry and then a federal legislative update from Paul Schlesinger. Unfortunately, Jim Davenport did have to drop off for another meeting, but maybe he'll join us at a future board meeting. And then I will be walking through the few minor changes to the draft legislative program and asking for you to adopt the final 2022 legislative program to help guide your legislative team through the next legislative calendar. Gus, I believe you are on.
Yes. Good morning, Christina, and good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Chair Adams and board members. Chair Adams, look forward to working with you in your new capacity. And outgoing Chair Smith, I just want to say thank you for your steady hand over the last year. Just want to underscore that we received funding for State Route 156 and the legislation that led up to that, the Monning Bill. You had a real big impact on getting that enacted. So indebted to you for that, the collaboration and partnership and working with TAMC staff and board members, and just excited about working with you, Chair Adams, going forward as well. And congratulations to this morning's recipients. I'll keep my report short in the interest of time. I predominantly want to just provide some context. So the legislature reconvened on January 3rd. Governor Newsom introduced his state budget, proposed state budget for fiscal year 22-23 on January 10th, which I never forget because it's my mom's birthday. And so it's been pretty remarkable over the last 3 years. The state in fiscal year 2021 had a $53 billion deficit. Last year we had a $76 billion surplus. And this year we're projected to have a $45.7 billion surplus. That cumulatively is a $174 billion swing. This year's general fund is $213 billion. So it's as if in the last 3 years, we've gained like another fiscal year's worth of revenues, which is pretty astonishing. This is predominantly due to the fact that We have a near record of capital gains revenue, $25 billion, personal income tax, corporate tax, all of that is up. The rainy day fund is at capacity. In fact, the legislature, there's something called the GAN limit, which is the California State Legislature's version of its appropriation limit. We're exceeding that by $2.6 billion. And so the legislature has to either return that back to taxpayers or pursue a constitutional amendment, which requires a 2/3 vote by the legislature and then placement on a statewide ballot to amend the Constitution to allow for the appropriation limit to be exceeded. And the governor has stated his intention to do so. So there's about $20 billion to play with after obligations such as meeting Proposition 98 are met, and that's funding for K through 14, and then fulfilling the rainy day fund obligations. And so for transportation, there's not too much that's changed. A lot of that has to do with the fact that there was not a reconciliation on last year's FY 21-22 state budget, and that had to do with the fact that the governor wanted to appropriate the remainder of the High-Speed Rail Bond Act funds, the $4.2 billion. He had tied that to some additional general fund revenues he was making available predominantly for transit and for rail funding in order to comply with the climate action plan for transportation infrastructure. And so there's essentially about a $4.5 billion carryover for that. Some legislators, it's well documented, it's been in the press, in Southern California are seeking a pretty large appropriation to go for some of the commuter rail agencies down there. The legislature has stated its intention, at least the assembly, to provide up to $10 billion worth of funding for projects. The governor has preferred to augment existing competitive programs instead. So we'll see how that works between the Assembly Speaker, the Senate President Pro Tem, and the governor. The budget has to be enacted by June 15th, or sorry, it has to be passed by the legislature by June 15th and enacted and in effect by July 1st. One of the other newer things in the budget, it's really just an acceleration of something that the governor had in last year's budget, is his commitment to double down on addressing zero emission vehicle infrastructure and incentives. So he's pouring in $6.1 billion on top of the $3.9 billion from last year. So that's a $10 billion investment over 6 years that he's looking to make, including $256 million made available for low income individuals to be able to afford or purchase a zero emission vehicle, and $900 million spent in low income communities for zero emission vehicle infrastructure. I know we've spent considerable time in the past. Supervisor Lopez has brought this up. Supervisor Alejo has brought this up as well. Just being more cognizant that, you know, it's the underserved communities that have to drive further to go to the workplace. They don't always have access to the best transit service. So looking to maybe capitalizing on this opportunity should the funding get enacted by the legislature. Those are sort of the major high points that I would bring up. One other item, just very quickly, is the Clean California Initiative. This is for litter abatement. The governor had poured a substantial amount of funding. There's $1.1 billion over 3 years. And this is something that, you know, we would work with District 5 on. And I just, you know, also want to acknowledge District 5 has been a very integral partner in trying to deploy some of the zero emission vehicle infrastructure, particularly along the Highway 101 corridor. So we look forward to building upon that partnership. So Madam Chair, I'll stop right there and see if you or other members of the board have any questions for me this morning. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gus, for that comprehensive report. Is there any member of the board who wishes to ask questions at this time? Okay, I don't see any hands raised. I'll see if there's any member of the public that wishes to ask any questions at this time on our legislative package and our future. Okay, seeing no one, I'll turn it back to you, Christina.
Thank you. Thank you, Gus. And Paul, would you like to give an update on federal legislative activities at this point?
And if you could unmute yourself, please, Paul. Thank you.
People usually think my best stuff is when they can't hear me. So thanks, Christina. Thanks, Chair Adams. Wanted to just take a couple of minutes, revisit what was certainly the major development, of the past several months, and that was the enactment on November the 15th of the IIJA, the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. It's going to increase spending over the next 5 years. Of course, this bill was a lot more than transportation. Transportation is sort of the crux of it, but then it grew way beyond that. And Congress needed to do this. The last 5-year reauthorization had actually expired a year before, and DOT was basically working on a continuing resolution of that bill for a year. This bill will, for transportation, increase over the next 5 years by about a third over the previous 5 years. It is largely from the Highway Trust Fund, but since there was no gas tax increase at all, it stepped up the amount of money that's going to be coming out of the general fund, i.e. income taxes. It extends many of the existing programs and the basic structure of the way that the federal aid transportation programs work. An overarching hallmark of the bill was really the return, and not just the return, but the dramatic increase of any time in our history of discretionary grant programs. Perhaps most notably, because I think they also reflect things that were in our agenda and that we were interested in, there is the return of a highway bridge investment program that's funded it's going to grow from about $600 billion a year to $700 billion a year over the life of the bill. There are grants for EV charging, and that program is going to grow from about $300 billion to $700 billion over the life of the bill, and resiliency grants that we had been interested in, for which there are both a formula component and a discretionary component. Other main hallmarks of the bill are equity, an emphasis on funding for disadvantaged communities, for climate resiliency, and for environmental justice, trying to help communities that had been negatively impacted by transportation projects over the years. I would note, before leaving the subject of that bill, as the bill had originally passed the House, there were earmarks in it, including one for us that we had worked with Congressman Panetta on securing for Highway 101 south of Salinas. The final version of the bill, after all the machinations that they went through, ended up dropping all of the earmarks. Our earmark disappeared, as did every other earmark around the country. Next bill we'll just talk about for a second, the Buildback Better Act that, of course, had been so much in the news for months and months. I think at the beginning there was some misunderstanding. People were saying, because it was referred to as an infrastructure bill, it was really more of a human infrastructure, a social infrastructure bill, although there was $40 billion in it for transportation. That bill, of course, has now kind of dropped by the wayside. Likely what's going to happen is that smaller package bills containing various components of it will be moved forward, that can be moved forward. The final thing I would talk about is the appropriations process for last year and this year. You might remember from your civics courses that the federal fiscal year expires on September 30th. We're now about a third of the way into the new fiscal year, and the appropriations measures for this year have not been passed at all, none of them. There should be 12 appropriations bills passed by September the 30th. So the federal government's working on a continuing resolution that extends through February the 18th. Speculation is that they're probably going to have to extend that again. There is an impact on transportation, which is a part of the rules of a continuing resolution, since it just continues the existing funding levels, is that you can't initiate the new programs. There were a number of, as I mentioned, new discretionary programs in the infrastructure bill. It doesn't mean that those programs, preparing for them and figuring out how they're going to operate, which takes months and months anyway, that's happening at DOT. When there is a new bill, they are going to hit the ground running, excuse me, with those bills. The other impact is, I had said before about the IIGA that in addition to most of the funding coming out of the Highway Trust Fund, some of it was out of general funds. And so that spending can't occur until there's a new appropriations bill with increased funding out of general funds. That's sort of a quick and dirty on what's been happening, what's going to happen, and would love to answer any questions that you all might have.
Thank you for that presentation. Really appreciate the update. And now we'll go to the board to see if there are Christina, do you want to make comments before I go to the board? Maybe that'd be better.
If there are any questions for Paul, happy to take them now. Otherwise, I can move on to the legislative program for your recommendation.
I'm seeing no hands raised at all. So I'll ask the public if anybody out there wants to raise a hand. And they've had their 30 seconds, so the answer is no. So let's go ahead with the presentation, Christina. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Gus. Thank you, Paul. They were both very integral in helping to draft the 2022 legislative program, because that helps to guide our activities for the year. So getting their input on what they expect to see coming up in the next legislative year is very helpful. This board saw a draft version of the program in October and authorized staff to circulate it to committees and to go out to external agencies such as the county, MST, and the city of Salinas to get input on the program moving forward into the next year. We only have a few changes from what we presented in October. They are shown in your packet. The attachment is the one that shows changes. You can see exactly what changed since the draft program you saw in October. I'm not going to walk through every single change, but the items that changed are 4S related to alternative fuel initiatives, 6S related to promoting telecommuting via broadband investments, and 9S, these are all in the state program, that is related to Vision Zero strategies. And on the federal program, there was a change to the language that we had for resilient infrastructure projects that makes it more clear exactly what kinds of projects we're looking to fund this coming year. So with that, we request your action to adopt the 2022 legislative program to help us with our recommendations moving forward with legislation.
Thank you so much, Christina. That you made it very easy for me. So now I will go to the board to see if there's anyone that wishes to comment or ask questions on this. I'm seeing no hands raised. And Eloise, can you see if there are any members of the public who have their hands raised going out to the public?
That's a negative, Chair.
Great. Okay, then we will ask for a roll call vote.
District 1, Supervisor Alejo.
I'm sorry, was there a motion?
Oh, I'm sorry.
This is Lopez. I'll go ahead and make that motion.
I'll second that, Askew. You saved me. It looks like Supervisor Askew has seconded that motion, or was she just coughing? Okay, good. So we have a motion from Supervisor Lopez and a second from Supervisor Askew, Root Askew. And now, if you could please give us a roll call vote.
Thank you. District 1, Supervisor Alejo.
Aye.
District 2, Supervisor Phillips.
Aye.
District 3, Supervisor Lopez.
Aye.
District 4, Supervisor Askew.
Aye, and thank you for all the work that went into this.
District 5, Supervisor Adams.
Aye.
City of Carmel by the Sea.
Aye.
City of Delray Oaks.
Aye.
City of Gonzales.
Aye.
City of Greenfield,
Aye.
City of King City,
Aye.
City of Marina,
Aye.
City of Monterey,
Aye.
City of Pacific Road,
Aye.
City of Salinas,
Aye.
City of Sand City.
Aye.
Okay. City of Seaside. City of Seaside.
I know that Mayor Oglesby had to drop off. He was
Oh.
having some Zoom issues.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
City of Soledad.
Aye.
Chair, the motion passes unanimously.
Thank you very much. Great. Excellent. Thank you. I think this is one of the most important things that we do all year, looking at the legislative agenda. So thank you again, Christina, for all of your work on this. It's going to be exciting to work with you to put into action many of the things that we've got going on. And now we will go to item number 9, which is to receive the reports from transportation providers. And the first thing that we have is Caltrans, and I know we have Scott Eads with us. I'll take board questions after each presentation, and then after the entire presentation, we'll go out to the public for comment.
Right.
So, what's up?
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Scott Eads here again with you today. I have a couple of Clean California related items and then a brief update on the Colorado fire from Caltrans perspective. First, there is now an expanded program for paying folks that are willing to be out there on the highways picking up trash through the Adopt a Highway program. So this was rolled out to just a few counties. Now it's been expanded statewide. And so for those that have signed up and are part of the Adopt a Highway program, even those that have been signed up in the past or those that are interested now, once you sign up, Caltrans will award up to $250 a month for activities such related to litter cleanup. It's $250 for cleaning both sides of the highway, or $62.50. Don't know how they came up with that number for each ramp, or $250 for all 4 ramps on an interchange. And then it also applies to other locations such as along bike paths or park and ride facilities. And there is a requirement to submit information, including the date that the service was done, some photos showing the litter that was removed, and the like, to receive the payment. There's more information at cleancalifornia.com, or I'm sorry, cleanca.com. And then another related Clean California item is the local grant program. We've talked about this in the past. A lot of dollars available statewide to help with beautification projects or landscaping projects or litter removal, either campaigns or actual litter removal for local jurisdictions. And the deadline is February 1st. So applications and instruction materials are available online. Hopefully most everyone who's planning to submit has most everything together by now. Last thing I want to touch on is the Colorado fire. Just an update from Caltrans perspective. We have inspected the roadway and the bridges in the closure area. We found no significant areas of concern. And inspections have revealed some fire damage to drainage infrastructure. We'll be giving doing follow-up work on those areas as needed, recognizing we're still in the winter storm season. And after fires that can have certain implications. And we remain in a supportive role since the incident command is not Caltrans. And so we'll continue to work with incident command and open the roadway when we are given the thumbs up from incident command to do so. That concludes my report. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much for your report. Is there any member of the board that wishes to ask or make a question, have a question or make a comment?
I do. This is Greg Hawthorne.
Okay.
We were just informed that Highway 1 is going to open at noon today. So Caltrans has said that it's going to open at noon. So those of us that have businesses and homes down here are very happy to finally get the highway open. So thank you very much.
Thank you
Excellent.
for that, Greg. I thought that was supposed to be embargoed until noon, but it looks like everybody knows, so that's fine. Don't tell anybody. Congratulations for all of us, especially Caltrans and the Cal Fire folks. I see Mayor Labar has his hand up.
Thank you. Quickly, I've been getting a lot of questions which are asking when is the improvements going to be done in the King City area? We're doing a great job, but I don't have anything to tell the residents.
I do not have a specific update on that either, Mayor LaBarre. I know that it's an involved project, and it has gone on for quite a while. There are some challenges that we had to address along the way, and we continue to have closures, and we're doing everything we can to keep, to get those all lanes back open. But I don't have a specific update. If I can find some materials, I'll put it in the chat if I'm able to do so.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Excellent. I see no other hands raised at this point. I had a quick question. I think I know the answer, but it was regarding the Adopt a Highway program. Does Caltrans provide any kind of safety gear to the volunteers that are now to the people who might be paid to go out and do this cleanup work?
That's a great question, and I think the answer is yes, but I'm not positive. I know that there's trash bags that are provided because they all look the same, those orange bags. I'm would be pretty certain that we provide a hard hat and a vest and some training to go along with that.
Great. Thank you. That's, I think, important information for us to have. Maybe next month, you could let us know a little bit more about that. Thank you so much. Okay.
Through the chair, I just had one other question about the Clean California program. And where would we be able to find out who has adopted segments of our local Monterey County highways? Is that something that you would be able to provide to us once the program's up and running?
Yes, so we do have, I mean, the program is up and running now. We've had it for years. We are actually working on an external web viewer that's GIS based that would be able to show locations that are available and whether they're, locations that are already adopted and those that remain that need to still be adopted. So we'll be rolling that out, and that would be a great thing to provide in our update when that
Wonderful.
happens.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for that. Any other comments from the board or questions? Okay, thanks very much, Scott. And thanks especially for telling us about the road being open. That's such a big deal. When Highway 1 closes, it's, that's great. Glad, very glad. Thank you, Greg, for bringing it to our attention. And now I will go to the Monterey Peninsula Airport, Bill Sabo. And after that, we will go to Lisa Reinheimer from Monterey Salinas Transit.
Thank you, Chair. Appreciate the opportunity to speak to the board. First of all, I want to extend to the outgoing chair, Ed Smith, for a good job. You are not only a gentleman, but you're a good facilitator for collaboration, and you did an excellent job throughout the year. And my compliments to you. Don't let that go to your head, though. Okay. Going forward, I think we're going to kind of talk with Todd about including the airport in some of our discussions about legislative priorities. One of the things that's very important to the airport is the FAA's Reauthorization Act, and the money that comes out of that Reauthorization Act is very important to the airport. And we are right now on pins and needles wondering exactly how much of the infrastructure funding is going to come to the airport. Going forward, it's going to be very important. And so, Todd, I'm going to reach out to you, at least you have the discussion. I know the orientation of TAMC has been traditionally towards roads and highways and safety projects, but we happen to be a transportation mode, and we'd like to have your consideration. We had a very good holiday season. We exceeded the number of employments or boardings than in this holiday season than we had pre-COVID. So things are working well, and we're able to provide a lot of access for our county and regional residents to go visit grandma, and we were very proud of that. We had a very successful military room for military members and their dependents. We had over 150 users of that room with cookies and a place to relax. And so it was very well received, and was the military establishment in the area was honored us with a little citation for it. Our parking lot was full, and we always like to see that. We need a bigger parking lot, and we're working on that with our plans for a new terminal. Our current focus is on retaining air service. We got a lot of new air service, and retaining that. And this, as you watch in the news, a lot of airlines are cutting back on their flights due to the lack of pilots, and in some cases they have a lack of aircraft. And so we're working very hard to retain our air service, because it's a vital transportation mode for people that want to connect and go elsewhere in the country and the world. Is also vital to our hospitality industry. So we're working very hard to retain that service, because it's fungible. We're in competition with a lot of other airports. And just as an aside for aviation in general for the county, I want to indicate that the city of Marina has done an excellent job in promoting their tenant Joby aircraft, which is one of the urban air mobility vehicle manufacturers, and they're starting flight testing out of the Marina Airport. And I want to also point out that we also have another manufacturer in the county, Archer Aviation, out of Salinas. So it's something to pay attention to going forward. We seem to have a dominance in this area throughout the state of California. So keep your eyes on the news notices for that sort of thing. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. I have a quick question. Is there any update on the Reno flight that I think was planned?
Yes, it's not happening yet. That airline is trying to get their feet on the ground and get started. They've started at a couple of other airports in California, and we're working very hard with the management of that airline to try to get that as an additional flight out of Monterey to Reno. And so it's still a work in process.
Thank you. That's great. Thanks so much. Okay, seeing no hands raised, we'll go now to Lisa Reinheimer with Monterey Salinas Transit.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the TAMC board, staff, and guests. First, I'd like to thank the board for their continued support of the Surf Busway and Bus Rapid Transit project on your consent agenda earlier, where you approved the Measure X funding agreement with us. Very much appreciated. On to COVID. For MST, we've had a record number of cases within our staff ranks, and luckily, during our COVID tracing, we have found no passengers being in close contact with any of our drivers. So that's good news. But the problem is that now we've got a number of folks that are out sick and quarantined. So the number of drivers that we have available to deliver the services that we offer to the community is really impacting our service levels. So we may have to start reducing service a little bit to match our employee levels, unfortunately. But we'll let you know if that's the case coming up in the next few weeks or months, depending on how this whole thing goes. Next, I wanted to announce that MST is in receipt of a federal Transportation Administration FTA grant for transit-oriented development in their pilot program. And the grant was $405,000 for MST to work with the cities along the Surf Busway and Bus Rapid Transit project to look at station areas and have a conversation with the cities about transit-oriented development planning. And so we will be reaching out to the cities along the Surf Corridor to talk about opportunities for those types of planning efforts. And then finally, I wanted to also announce that next week, we will be publishing hopefully by the end of the week, we'll be publishing our final of our comprehensive operational analysis. I believe this has been announced to the board before. It's a complete and total network redesign that really focuses our service levels to the places that need it most. And so that'll be going before the MST board in February for adoption. And you'll have an opportunity to take a look at it and see what you think. So that's coming up as well. And I'll stop there and answer any questions if you have them.
Thank you, Lisa. Great to see you. I see no hands raised, so I'm going to continue to move forward. And now I will go to the Monterey Bay Air Resources District, and we have David Prisby with us.
Hi, good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is David Frisbee. I'm the Planning and Air Monitoring Manager here at the Air District. I'm standing in for Rich Stedman. We've got 2 electric school bus projects, one in North Monterey County Unified School District and the other at Monterey Peninsula Unified School District that have been, we've been in contract with to supply to those districts. But because of the pandemic and the supply chain problems, those school buses manufacturing has been limited. So we're looking at delivery of those buses much later this year is what Lion Electric assures me. So we're still standing by for those projects. We're about to enter into agreements with Monterey Salinas Transit for another all-electric school bus. I'm sorry, all-electric bus that is funded by DMV fees. We're also going to enter into an agreement with Monterey Disposal for an all-electric Class 8 refuse collector. We're working on revising our electric bicycle and electric vehicle incentive programs to get more participation from low-income residents. We found we're using the LIHEAP as a determination of low income, and we'd like to expand that to get more participation. So we're looking at other ways of determining low income. So we'll be taking that to our board next month. And finally, we've got another project that was held up by the pandemic and supply chain problems. It is a direct current fast charge and level 2 electric vehicle charging station that is being installed at 224 16th Street in Pacific Grove. Finally, that project is nearing completion. We hope to have that completed by the end of next month. That's the end of my report. Take any questions.
Thank you very much. Are there any board members with any questions? Seeing none, then I'm going out to the public to see if there's any member of the public that has any questions on any of the presentations that we've just had. I see Jose. Nope, we appear to have no questions. Therefore, we will receive the report with thanks to everyone for providing the information that you have. And now I will go to item 10, which is a report on any meetings that were attended by the board members at the transportation agency's expense, as is required by law. Is there anyone who has anything to report? Anyone seeing any hands raised? I'm still here, right? Yeah.
Yes,
Okay,
we can hear
great.
you. Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you, thank you. I was, my screen has changed and I suddenly thought, oh my gosh, did I fall off? No, I'm here. Okay, great. So that's item number 10. Moving on to the most important part of our meeting, item number 11, which is the executive director's report.
Thank you, Chair Adams. I'm very excited to report that in difficult times with a lot of transition, we were notified by Caltrans that we were good to go through an indirect cost audit, and which is always, going through an audit is always fun. And the good news is that we were given a clean bill of health, and we were also told that we were the first of 10 agencies to have no issues as we went through the audit process. So this is kudos to our finance team of Rita, Dave, and Lynn, and all their hard work to keep us in the clear. So happy to be finished with that and have that report. I wouldn't normally comment on our consent agenda, but I did want to point out that we had a heck of a lot of activity and progress that represents what the board approved in our consent agenda. Lisa mentioned the funding for the SURF project. We have contacts and agreements for Safe Route to School program, for our rail program. And we also had the board approved funding $1.3 million of Measure X to match $3 million of Caltrans funds for an acceleration from Spence Road to Eckhart Road as part of the US 101 South of Salinas project. So this is the first project that will come out of the effort to improve that corridor, and it will probably be another couple of years before construction actually happens. But I just wanted to point that out because it is exciting to move forward in that corridor. And also we had an item that approved a contract with Point C Consulting. Tony Harris is coming on board to assist staff and the board to find innovative ways to fund our regional projects, particularly the US 101 South of Salinas and the Highway 68 corridor, and also innovative construction techniques. Tony has a lot of experience in this area, has helped TAMC in the distant past and is currently helping Santa Barbara. And we're looking forward to working with Tony to expedite our projects in every way possible. And then finally, I wanted to mention that our Measure X Oversight Committee started doing the audit work of last year's reports from the cities and the county, and looking forward to getting their results and being able to report on Measure X activities as part of our regular annual report. And that concludes my comments. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Todd, is there any member of the board that wishes to ask any questions or make any comments? I'm seeing no hands raised. We'll go out to the public to see if there's any questions or comments. Seeing none, we will accept your report. Thank you very much for that. And we will move on now to item 12, lastly, to see if there are any announcements or comments from TAMC board members on matters that they wish to see on future transportation agency agendas. And I see that Mayor Labar has his hand raised.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to express appreciation from the City of King on TAMC's letter of support for our grant application. Thank you, Todd. Thank you, TAMC, for the quick turnaround. Very much appreciated. And I also was at the CalCog meeting for January 14th and was appointed to their legislative committee. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Congratulations for that. Any other comments or anything else that needs to go on the future agendas? With that, I will close and I will adjourn in honor of Ed Smith and thank him again for his wonderful year of chairing. And we'll see you all next month. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.